The movie opens with a busy railway station somewhere in the United States. Among the crowd, we meet Eddie, a quiet, sincere employee who's been working there for nearly 20 years. That's when a woman named Linda walks up and asks for a ticket to a place called Mikan Heights. Now here's where things get strange. Eddie pauses. He's been working here for 2 decades, and he's never heard of a station by that name. He calmly tells her there's no such station. But Linda doesn't back down. She insists. She takes that same train from this same station at this same time every single day. That instantly throws Eddie off. Curious now, he asks her about the train timings. Linda explains that 3 trains go there daily, one at 9:19, another at 12:19, and the last one at 5:19. Eddie quickly checks his system, but when he looks back up, she's gone, just vanished. Later, after his shift ends, Eddie brings this up to his coworker Charles, but Charles has never heard of Mikan Heights either. Instead of taking it seriously, he brushes it off like a joke. He always jokes around like this, so Eddie doesn't think much of it and heads home, except something feels off there too. When he enters his house, he notices police officers inside. His heart immediately drops. That's when he learns something disturbing. His son, Sam, attacked his girlfriend pretty badly. She filed a complaint. But since Sam is still underage, the police decide not to take him in. Instead, they warn him and leave after speaking with Eddie. Once they're gone, Eddie confronts Sam. He asks him what happened. But this isn't new behavior. Sam has always had anger issues. The next day back at work, things take another strange turn. Linda shows up again. Same request, same confidence, a ticket to Mikan Heights. This time, Eddie doesn't brush it off. He brings her inside and calls Charles over too. But even in front of both of them, Linda doesn't change her story. She describes Mikan Heights like it's a real, thriving place. Around 5,000 people living happily, helping each other, no problems, no stress. She even claims she works there at an insurance company. Now both Eddie and Charles are completely confused. Charles tries to explain using actual train routes. None of them go anywhere near a place like that. But Linda just calmly insists it's only about 27 to 28 minutes away. And then, just like before, she disappears. This time, even Charles is shaken. But Eddie, he's done ignoring this. He decides he's going to find out the truth himself. So he boards the 9:19 train, the one Linda mentioned, hoping to find her. But instead, he meets a strange man, someone who casually talks to him, nothing too unusual, but there's something off about him. Eddie eventually gets off the train, still with no answers. But when he gets home that night, things get worse. He finds out that Sam tried to harm his own mother. That hits hard. Without wasting a second, Eddie takes Sam to a psychiatrist. And the diagnosis is clear. Sam is mentally unstable, and if he's not handled carefully, things could spiral out of control. By the next day, Eddie is carrying all of it. The stress from home and the mystery of Linda. And this time, he decides to go deeper. He sets a 28-minute timer on his phone and boards that same train again. As the train moves, he notices that same man from before. Looking out the window, trying to focus, he suddenly spots Linda outside for a split second, and then she's gone again. Now Eddie is fully alert, scanning everywhere, but she's nowhere to be seen. Time passes, exactly 28 minutes, and then something impossible happens. That same man stands up, walks toward the train door, and the door opens automatically while the train is still moving. Eddie freezes. He warns him, if you take one more step, you're going to fall. But the man doesn't hesitate. He just jumps. Without thinking, Eddie jumps after him. And the moment he lands, he realizes he's not alone. Other passengers have jumped too, all of them, heading toward the same place. And as Eddie follows them, he steps into something that feels completely unreal. A beautiful city, bright, peaceful, everyone smiling, everyone helping each other. It's perfect. For the first time in a long while, Eddie feels his stress just melt away. He walks into a nearby restaurant. A waitress greets him warmly. Eddie orders tea, but she also offers him an apple cake she made herself. And when he takes a bite, he freezes, because he's never tasted anything this good before. After leaving the restaurant, a couple accidentally bumps into him. They quickly apologize and excitedly tell him they just got married today. Eddie smiles, congratulates them, and continues walking. Everything here feels too perfect. And then he finally finds Linda. At this point, Eddie starts doubting himself. No real world looks like this. No place is this perfect. He wonders if maybe all of this is just in his head. But Linda calmly tells him, no, this is real, just not his reality. She explains that this is an alternate reality, a world where real people exist, but without pain, without sadness. That's why everyone here is so happy, so kind. It sounds unreal, but Linda takes it a step further. She tells him that later in the evening, at exactly 5:19, a train will arrive, one that can take him back to a place very close to his home, a version of his world, but without the pain. At first, Eddie doesn't fully understand what she means, but as time passes, he heads toward the station. People are already gathered there. Then the train arrives, but here's the strange part. It doesn't actually stop. There's no official station here, and yet, everyone starts running alongside the moving train, effortlessly climbing in. Eddie has no choice. He runs, jumps, and gets on. And when he reaches home, something feels different, subtle, but noticeable. His wife looks happier, more peaceful. Eddie immediately goes to check on Sam, but Sam isn't there, and that's when it hits him. In this reality, Sam doesn't exist, and suddenly, everything makes sense. His wife is happy because the biggest source of stress in their life is gone. Seeing his wife happy like this, free from pain, Eddie makes a decision. He chooses to stay. The next day, Eddie returns to work, but this time, there's a lightness in him, a sense of calm he hasn't felt in years. But even in this perfect place, something keeps pulling at him. He needs answers, so he starts digging deeper into Mikan Heights, searching online, reading whatever he can find. That's when he comes across an article written by a reporter. Without wasting time, Eddie goes to meet her, and what she tells him changes everything. She explains that Mikan Heights was originally just a concept, a dream city designed by a brilliant architect, but the project was never approved. It never got built. However, there were rumors that the architect somehow created the city in another reality. People had come to her before, claiming they had been there. She even tried to go herself, but the train doors never opened for her. That's when she realized only certain people are allowed in. To everyone else, that place is just an empty field. Then she shows Eddie something shocking, a photograph of Linda, and reveals the truth. Linda is the architect's daughter, the same man who dreamed of building Mikan Heights. And after his dream was crushed and he passed away, Linda became obsessed with making it real. Then one day, she disappeared. No trace, no explanation. And now, Eddie knows where she went. Back at work, Eddie can't stop thinking about all of this. He keeps researching, digging deeper, even while working. One day, while talking to Charles, he learns something else. In this reality, Charles is married. He has 3 kids. Hearing that, something inside Eddie shifts, because suddenly he starts thinking about Sam, not the problems, not the anger, just his son. The memories begin to flood back, and no matter how perfect this world is, it feels incomplete without him. At that moment, Eddie makes up his mind. He's going back, no matter what. So, once again, he takes the 9:19 train, heading straight to Mikan Heights. Everything repeats. Same restaurant, same waitress, same apple cake, even the same couple bumps into him again. That's when Eddie realizes this place is stuck in a kind of loop. Everything resets. Everything repeats. Panicking now, he starts searching desperately for Linda, but she's nowhere. Exhausted, he sits down near a park. Nearby, a couple is playing with their child, and the moment Eddie sees that kid, his chest tightens. He remembers Sam. Unable to find Linda, Eddie boards the 5:19 train and returns home. That night, he can't sleep. Something feels wrong. He wakes up suddenly and hears strange noises coming from Sam's room. But that room shouldn't exist here. Slowly he walks in. The room is completely white, with a TV and a stack of old videotapes. Confused, Eddie plays them. And what he sees is Sam as a child, laughing, playing, growing up. Each moment hits him hard. Tears roll down his face, because now he realizes the truth. No matter how broken things were, he still loves his son, and he needs to go back. The next day, Eddie returns to Mikan Heights again, searching for Linda more desperately than ever. This time, he starts talking to people, and slowly, a hidden truth begins to surface. Everyone here was suffering in the real world. They were broken, lost, hurt, and this place gave them a second chance, a reason to live. That's why they stay. That's why they're happy. But it's not because their pain never existed. It's because they're running from it. Right then, the woman with the baby rushes toward Eddie, panicked. Her child is choking. She begs for help, but Eddie, frustrated and overwhelmed, walks away. He ignores her and heads back to the restaurant. Inside, he asks the waitress about Linda again, but instead, she shares her own story. When she was just 16, she went through something deeply traumatic. It broke her completely. She lost all hope, even thought about ending her life. But then she found this place, and it gave her a reason to keep going. Eddie listens, but he's too focused, too angry. He leaves. Outside, the same couple bumps into him again. But this time, Eddie snaps. He lashes out at them, yet they don't react. They just smile, laugh, and walk away. And that's when Eddie realizes this place doesn't change, no matter what you do. Still thinking about Linda, Eddie suddenly remembers. She works at an insurance company, so he heads there. But instead of a building, there's just a thin wall with a door. He opens it, steps inside, and finds himself in a strange dimensional space. And finally, he meets Linda again. This time, Eddie doesn't waste a second. He demands to know how to go back to his real world. Linda tries to stop him. She tells him he can live a better life here. No pain, no suffering. But Eddie doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want a perfect life. He wants his life with his son. Seeing his determination, Linda finally agrees. She takes him outside, sits with him in a park, and reveals the full truth. Her father really did dream of building this city. When that dream died, so did he. Linda couldn't accept it. So she searched, discovered the path to this alternate reality, and built Mike and Heights here. She connected it to multiple parallel worlds, but she made one rule. Only those who are completely broken are allowed in. Because this place is meant to give them a second chance. That's why happy people can't enter. And that's why everyone here seems so kind, so peaceful. After explaining everything, Linda gives Eddie one last warning. If he goes back, he will face pain again. Sam will still be difficult. Life won't be easy. But Eddie doesn't hesitate. Because for him, pain doesn't matter. Being with his son does. So Linda finally tells him, take the evening train, and you'll return to your real world. That night, Eddie boards the train. And that same mysterious man, this time, he opens up. He reveals that in his real life, he was a dangerous criminal. He hurt many people, made terrible choices. Eventually, guilt consumed him. He wanted to end everything. But then, he found this place. And even now, he's still trying to escape his past. Hearing this, Eddie stays quiet. Because he knows running doesn't fix anything. Facing it does. And finally, Eddie returns home, back to his world. This time, when he sees Sam, there's no anger, no frustration, just relief. Because now he understands. Life isn't about escaping pain. It's about choosing who you're willing to endure it for. And sometimes, that choice changes everything.